God bless everybody. This is Pastor Nick Ohizu, once again coming to you with what I call the Chronicles of a Village Boy. I will be taking time to talk to you about the journey of my life and sharing with you the faithfulness of God and to encourage somebody that might have had my kind of background, my kind of experiences, and is thinking that God will not be able to come through for you. My story will encourage you. My story will change your life. My story will bless you. So I want you to take note that this message is for you. I want to tell you a story. It's a story of what happened to me a few years ago. I was a little boy that grew up in the village. My parents were not that rich. It was hand to mouth. And it came to a certain period in my life that my father had to travel and go and study overseas and left my mom and I with my other siblings. I was going to high school that time, and we've been having some serious challenges financially. It was not easy. My mom was just a teacher, a headmistress for that matter. And we were many, we were 7 of us with 3 siblings, 3 cousins that were adopted, and other cousins that were staying with us. We were about 14 of us. However, to cut the long story short, high school was not so easy for me. We struggled to go to school. Days you walked, days you caught a taxi. Days we went with our father's car that we were always pushing. It was very, very challenging for us. And it happened that at Form 3, we had the opportunity to go for an excursion. This excursion was to what we call Liver Brothers those days in a city called Aba, in Abia State. It was my first opportunity to ever go to a city, and I was looking so much forward to it. And they wanted us to contribute to what that time was called 50 naira. And I don't know the equivalent of 50 naira right now, but at that time it was something like maybe $5. So I told my mom that they needed this money about 2 months in advance, and my mom told me she will give me the money. She will give me the money. And our form master at that time, which I will not mention his name, but I will just call him Mr. Bush, you understand? So, for those of you that went to school with me, if you watch this story, you know what I'm talking about. So, he told us that if you don't pay, you're not going into the bus, you're not going to the excursion. My mom kept promising me that we will go. I had faith. Week after week, I was reminding her, but she kept telling me, I'll give you next week. I'll give you next week. My mom was struggling to feed more than 14 people. It was very difficult. That money was not there. However, we got to the day of the excursion. I had faith enough to go back to my mom the night before and say, can I have the money? That's when she told me she doesn't have that money. I'd washed my clothes, ironed it, and I was looking sparkling smart. But one thing was missing, the bus fare to go to the city. So I decided to go to school with my siblings because I believed that we will be able to get there, Somehow, somewhere, Mr. Bush will let me go and I will pay later. So we got to school, the assembly took place, and all our forms were told to wait because we were going for the excursion. And then the bus came, and the form master took the register and started calling the roll call, and the people were going in. I waited till the end of the queue, and I was left face to face with Mr. Bush, And he asked me, Ohizu, you again? I said, sorry, sir. He said, where is your money? I said, I didn't have it. He said, Ohizu, you are not entering this bus. You see this bus? You are not entering it. I've told you, you will not amount to anything. Every time you have excuses, I was standing there looking at him, was pleading with him, saying, let me enter, I will pay when we come back. He said, no, you think that the other kids that paid are stupid? You are not entering this bus. And to my utmost shock and surprise, Mr. Bush walked into the bus and shut the door of the bus. And I stood there. I was absolutely broken to pieces. I wept. I felt like the ground could open so that I could just sink. I was watching that bus go. And the bus was going. I was hoping that the bus will stop, that this man will have some kind of a compassion and stop and let me enter that bus. Anyway, the bus didn't stop. The other kids were standing by the balcony of the school just screaming and mocking. And I couldn't go back to class because none of my classmates were in class. Everybody was in the bus. And the only thing I could do was to walk home. It was almost 10 kilometers from our village to our school. And I had to walk home. And I remember, and I was walking and I was crying. And the only thing I could just be saying to myself, is it because I didn't have money? Is it because I didn't have money? You see, a lot of people don't understand why I preach prosperity. Every one of us have a story. You don't understand what we do, why we do what we do. Is because I have had the pain of poverty rubbed down my face. And the only thing I wish and pray for any human being that is watching this video is that you and your generation doesn't have to go through anything like that. Back to the story. I kept weeping, and I wept, and I wept, and I wept, and I walked, and I walked, and I walked. Almost 2 hours later, I got home, and I met my elder brother, Chris. And Chris was also back from school. That time he was in the university, he was in the Polytechnic, yes. And he had come back because he wanted to come and get some money for school fees or something like that. And he saw me and said, "Why are you crying and sweating like this?" And I told him what happened, and we held ourselves in our room and we wept. We cried and we cried and we cried and we cried. And after some time, he told me to wipe my face. And we stopped crying. He said, "Stop crying, but we have to make a decision that none of our children will go through anything like this." I am a living testimony that I can boldly tell anybody that is watching me that my children and my brother's children are not going through anything like that. Why? Because we met God. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you're among those people that feel that doors have been closing in front of you. You know, you have tried so many doors. You try this, it doesn't work. You try that, it doesn't work. Doors have been locked right in your face. People telling you, you will not make it. People telling you, you will not be able to achieve, you will not amount to anything. But why am I standing in front of my office today? I'm standing in front of my office today to testify that now I have doors that people open for me. Now I have so many doors that belong to me. Now I open doors. Why? Because I met God. And God saw my story and decided to use me as an example and as a message to people like you. That irrespective of how many doors that are being closed right in your face, a new door is going to open. And there is a door that will change your life. And today, this door might be locked, but this one is open. I have the power to open doors. And God gave me that power. He will give you that power. And I know that doors will be opening for you soon. So, I'm walking in. See you on the other side. So, as I was saying, the doors will open one day and it will be your door. What happened was, down the years, my father passed on. And at my father's funeral, the Teachers Association had come to pay their condolences. And guess who was there? It was Mr. Bush. He was among the teachers that had come to sympathize with our family. And I was given the opportunity to address the teachers. And I spoke. When I finished speaking and sat down, the teachers were being served, and Mr. Bush came and leaned on my shoulder. I said, "Excuse me, are you Nick Ohizu, or are you the elder brother Chris Ohizu. I said, it's Nick Ohizu. He said, wow, you have changed. I said, the young shall grow, Mr. Bush. The funny thing is that he was still wearing the same shoes he was wearing when we were still in school. I'm not trying to mock him. He was still wearing more or less the same trousers and the same shirts. But I've grown. I've changed. There are people that belittled you, looked down on you, overlooked you, abused you, misused you. I just want to say something to you. Hold on to God. Your story will change. I looked at Mr. Bush and I said, Mr. Bush, I want to thank you for closing that door. Sometimes you need to thank God for certain doors that closed right in your face. I said, thank you for closing that door, because if you never closed it, I wouldn't have seen the need to push to succeed, to fight to prosper, to be determined to break and eradicate poverty from my generation, to seek a higher power that has the power to defeat every negative statement that has been made against my life. And I want to say to you, that power is still here. It's the power of God. They have closed doors. They have overlooked you. They have ostracized you, abused you, and misused you. Your mates are mocking you. People are laughing at you like they laughed at you. Now, people are no longer laughing at me. They are laughing with me. And I want to say, I pray that you have people that will close doors in your face so that your face can turn towards God, so that your face can be turned towards heaven. David said, I will look upon the hills from whence cometh my help. And he said, my help coming from the Lord who made heaven and earth. The Lord lifted me. I am in my office. The door I opened is mine. It's nobody's door. If you continue to walk with God, to trust God, days will come when people will be opening doors for you. And I believe that that season has come, and that's why this message is coming. Wipe your tears. Stop crying. Your children will not go through what you went through. Keep fighting, keep believing, keep trusting God. The same God that elevated me will elevate you. The same God that called me will call you. The same God that anointed me will anoint you. The same God that blessed me will bless you. I believe that that God is still alive. If you want to serve him, just lift up your hands and pray this simple prayer. Lord Jesus, come into my life. I've messed up. I've missed you. I've disappointed you. I want to start afresh with you. Send your spirit into my life to give me the power to become a child of God. Wash me from my sins, for I know I am a sinner. And I promise you, I will serve you for the rest of my life. If you just prayed that prayer, you just said yes to Jesus. I prayed that prayer one day at the Lateran Assembly, which is now called the Citadel Global Community Church, pastored by Dr. Tunde Bakari. And step by step, I've watched my life change and my story change. If God did it for a village boy like me, he can do it for you. Now, I can boldly say that I've seen the hand of God on my life. And I look forward to seeing the hand of God on your life. Until next time, keep watching this space. There are more stories coming. The Chronicles of a Village Boy. The life story of Pastor Nick Ohizu. I will tell you how God took me from nothing and made me what I am. Until next time, bye-bye.